That night, I woke up because someone knocked on my door. 3 slow knocks. Deliberate, confident. The kind of knock from someone who isn't afraid of being heard. I wasn't expecting anyone, and whoever was out there wasn't supposed to know I was home alone. My wife was out of town visiting her mother. My son was staying at a friend's house. For the first time in months, the house was mine. Quiet, predictable. But at 2:14 a.m., the air felt wrong, like the house itself was listening. I froze on the couch. The TV was still on, playing some late documentary I hadn't really been watching. The blue light flickered across the empty hallway. Knock. 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 Not loud, intentional. It wasn't the knocking that scared me. It was the fact that it sounded like the person already knew I was awake. I got up slowly, avoiding the floorboards that creaked. I didn't want whoever was outside to know where I was. From the hallway, I could see the front door. The frosted glass panel glowed faintly from the porch light. I stepped closer. That's when I saw it. 2 eyes, reflecting back at me through the glass. Not moving, not blinking. Just staring into the house. My heart dropped into my stomach. They weren't pressed to the glass. They were lower, like the person was crouched, staring upward. Whoever was outside wasn't trying to force their way in. They were trying to watch me. I backed up fast and killed the living room lights. The eyes vanished. For a moment, the world felt like it forgot to breathe. That's when I heard footsteps. But they weren't at the front door. They were beside the house, walking toward the backyard. My backyard. Someone else was out there. 2 of them. And both of them were exactly where they needed to be, to trap someone inside. I ran to the garage door and grabbed the heavy metal flashlight I kept on the shelf. Not a weapon, but it would have to do. Before I could move, I heard metal snapping outside. The side gate. They were opening it. I locked the kitchen door just in time to hear the handle twitch. Once, twice. Soft. Testing. Not desperate, not rushed. They were patient. And that terrified me more than anything else. I crouched behind the kitchen island, breathing as quietly as I could. I dialed 911 on my phone, but before the dispatcher could speak, I saw something that made my voice die in my throat. The hallway sensor light turned on by itself. The one inside the house. Someone was inside. I felt the blood drain from my face. I hadn't heard glass break. I hadn't heard a door open. But I knew that light. It only turned on when something moved past it. And something had. There weren't 2 men anymore. There were 3. And one of them was already in my house. I whispered to the dispatcher, telling her someone was in my home. She told me officers were on the way. But the footsteps in the hallway were getting closer. Soft, careful, measured. They weren't searching the house. They were heading straight to the kitchen, straight to me. I tightened my grip on the flashlight. The footsteps stopped on the other side of the wall, just around the corner. Whoever it was knew exactly where I was hiding. Slowly, the handle of the cabinet behind me began to move. That was the moment I snapped. I lunged around the corner, swinging the flashlight as hard as I could, but I hit nothing. The hallway was empty, completely empty. But the sensor light was still on. At that exact moment, red and blue lights filled the windows. The intruders bolted. I heard the backyard gate slam, the fence rattle. Officers swarmed in seconds. They found pry marks on the back door and muddy footprints outside the kitchen window. They confirmed someone had been standing at the front door. Someone had walked to the backyard. But inside, nothing. No footprints, no forced entry, no sign of a third person, not even dust disturbed. It might have been the motion sensor glitching, the officer said, but I knew what I saw. I knew what I heard. Someone had been inside. Weeks later, after upgrading every lock and sensor, I checked the footage from a new camera I'd installed inside the hallway, the same hallway where I saw the light turn on. At 2:18 a.m., the exact time the sensor activated, the camera recorded it. The hallway light flicked on, but the camera didn't show anyone walking through. But that wasn't the disturbing part. 2 seconds later, the camera caught audio. A whisper, not close to the camera, behind it, inside the house. A low male voice murmuring something unintelligible. And then, another voice answered, a second whisper. And both voices were coming from inside the hallway, right after the sensor turned on, but before the police arrived. The timestamp confirmed it. Someone had been in my house, at least 2 people. But on the footage, on every angle, in every frame, no one was there anymore. The police never identified the men, and the camera never recorded a face. So, if you've heard anything like this, a knock, a whisper, footsteps that didn't belong, share it below. Your story might help someone else stay alive.